Well, thank you, everyone, for being here today. Today, I have two very different announcements to make. One is ensuring that Saskatchewan people have the financial support that they need to get through this difficult time, and that we all have jobs to go back to once this is over. The other is about further restrictions that we are ordering to protect the health and the safety of Saskatchewan people and Saskatchewan families. So let me first start with our financial support plan. As I said the other day, our government's goal is to dovetail with the federal government's very comprehensive financial support plan that was announced earlier this week. Our plan is to support businesses and to support employees. And most importantly, it supports the opportunity to come back to work when we emerge from the COVID-19 crisis. So today we are announcing a number of mechanisms of reducing costs for businesses and individuals, as well as providing supports to self-employed individuals not covered by the new federal support measures. A new self-isolation support program has been created. Administered by the Ministry of Finance, this program will provide $450 per week for a maximum of 2 weeks, or $900 in total. This program is targeted at Saskatchewan residents forced to self-isolate that are not covered by recent federally announced employment insurance programs and other supports that are available. This program is designed to ensure that all Saskatchewan residents are covered by either a federal or a provincial program. And this will ensure that no one is faced with choosing to work instead of protecting their family and their community from COVID-19 by self-isolating. And it will predominantly apply to those self-employed residents of Saskatchewan. This program will be an anticipated investment of $10 million, and the full criteria and the application information will be posted on saskatchewan.ca COVID-19 on Monday, March the 23rd. We're also making changes to ensure businesses and individuals are able to free up as much financial resources as possible. So effective immediately, Saskatchewan businesses will be able to defer their PST remittance to immediately alleviate cash flow concerns. Over the course of this 3-month program, government estimates a potential deferral of up to $750 million in PST collections. Audit programs and compliance activities, they have been suspended to allow businesses time to focus on the health and the safety of their customers and their staff, to reduce the impacts to their business operations, and also to minimize the spread of the virus through reduced audit travel. The Crown Utility Interest Deferral Program is waiving interest on late bill payments for up to 6 months, and that was announced earlier this week. And it will be made available to all Crown Utility customers. And effective immediately, a 6-month student loan repayment moratorium has been put in place, mirroring a similar federal provision that was put forward earlier this week. This provides individuals with student loans immediate relief, and it comes with a provincial investment of about $4 million. We have heard concerns from businesses that have been unable to provide temporary layoffs to their employees to allow these individuals to access a newly formed federal programs. So in addition to the changes made to the Saskatchewan Employment Act that introduced a new unpaid public health emergency leave and removed the 13-week employment requirement to access sick leave and the requirement for a doctor's note to access sick leave, the employment standards regulations have been amended to do the following. To ensure that during a public emergency, businesses will not have to provide notice or pay in lieu of notice when they lay off staff for a period of 12 weeks or less in a 16-week period. And if an employer lays off employees periodically for a total of more than 12 weeks in a 16-week period, the employees are considered to be terminated and are entitled to a pay instead of a notice as outlined in the Act. This will be calculated from the date on which the employee was laid off. These amendments create a balance for employers and employees where the difficult decision may be made to temporarily lay off employees due to public health emergencies. And in this circumstance, employees would have immediate access to new federal employment insurance programs, while keeping employers financially stable to ensure that employees have a job to return to. And lastly, in regards to the economic measures that we are taking here today to provide support to Saskatchewan businesses seeking to navigate the uncertain conditions that have been caused by COVID-19. The Government of Saskatchewan will be establishing a single window information webpage for businesses to access information and receive timely updates on provincial support initiatives. This will be complemented by the establishment of a business response team led by the Ministry of Trade, Export and Development, which will be a single point of contact for businesses to identify programs, supports relevant to their particular industry. Once the business response team has been established, contact information will be provided on the Government of Saskatchewan COVID-19 website. As well, it will be communicated to the public and to the local chambers of commerce for dissemination to their chamber membership. Today, the Government of Saskatchewan, on the direction of the Chief Medical Health Officer, is also imposing a number of new restrictions. So effective immediately, public gatherings are now limited to no more than 25 people. Nightclubs, bars, and lounges must be closed. Effective on Monday, restaurants are required to close except for takeout and delivery services. Personal services such as hair salons are also ordered to close. Dental, optometrist, chiropractic, podiatry clinics are also ordered to close except when offering non-elective procedures. Daycare facilities are limited to 8 children unless they are able to configure to no more than 8 children per room. But most importantly, each and all of these orders are now mandatory, including the requirement to self-isolate after returning from foreign travel. Today, I signed an emergency order that all persons are required to comply with all orders issued by the Government of Saskatchewan and the Chief Medical Health Officer, and that all police forces in Saskatchewan are authorized to take any reasonable action, including the power of arrest, to enforce these orders. This means that the full weight of the law and the law enforcement agencies are being placed behind these orders under the provincial state of emergency. And I know, we all know, that the vast majority of Saskatchewan people are taking their personal responsibility very seriously and they are following these orders. But there are a few who are not. And I am particularly concerned about some of those who are returning from foreign travel and are choosing to not self-isolate. Most of the COVID-19 cases in Saskatchewan and most of the COVID-19 cases across Canada are due to and related to foreign travel. In fact, 5 of the 6 new cases that have been identified today have also been traced to foreign travel. If we are able to reduce this threat, we will be able to flatten the curve. But this is not a suggestion. It's not a guideline. It is now the law. So when you return to Canada, you must go home immediately, and you must self-isolate for 2 weeks. This doesn't mean that you go to the grocery store or go to the drugstore or go fill up with gas and then you go home and self-isolate. This means you go home and you stay home now. And if you don't do this, you are now breaking the law. Again, I know that the overwhelming majority of Saskatchewan people are following these orders, and I want to expressly say thank you for doing that. These are the measures that are necessary for us to flatten the curve of COVID-19. These are the measures that are necessary for us to reduce the risk to protect our families, to protect our neighbors, and to protect our friends. But this doesn't work if most of us do it. We all have to. We owe it to one another.